Hey, you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost! Peekaboo, I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available Christmas 2029 and a half BC, the album, Dad. Shimmy, shimmy. AF. Rock on, girl, dust, woman. Boost! How are you guys doing today? That was actually not the song that I wanted to sing. I have to be very careful when I put on my lip gloss because I talked about this in a past video. It gets in the creases of my lips and then it looks like stuff's hanging off my lips. It's not a pretty look. Rihanna of Fenty Beauty. It's not a pretty look. And somebody commented in one of my videos and they said you have to be very careful with how much you put on. So let me be very careful. I know when I do this because I can hardly see myself in the camera. It's still going to be in the creases. And people are going to be like, Peter, it's still in the creases. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best. It kind of reminds me of my grandma with her blood red lipstick and nail polish she used to wear. Anyway, I just got done filming my video for my Peter Does Stuff channel. Every Friday, I am announcing. So if you didn't know, I have a movie club. I have two book clubs. I have a true crime book club that I run with my good Judy Mel. Hey Mel, how are you? And then I have Peter's book club where we read thrillers and cozy mysteries. And those are both announced over on my BookTube channel, Peter Likes Books. And then I have a movie club. A movie club. I got that from my dad. My dad used to say movies like that when I was a kid. He'd say movies. But anyway, and I always say to Boo Radley now, I'm like, Boo Radley, you want to watch a movie? And he always looks at me like I'm crazy. But I have a movie club. Peter's movie club over on my Peter Does Stuff channel. And they're movies that like meant something to me or affected me some way in my past or that I have some memory attached to. They're all available on Tubi, not sponsored, I wish. And so, I just went over there and I did the review of the movie from last week, which was on Golden Pond, and then I announced the movie for this week, which I'm really excited about watching. Now, starting next week, which is June, my birthday month, also my husband's 40th birthday month, so he kind of like gets the spotlight, I guess, this year. But anyway, for all the month of June, I'm picking like 5 of my favorite movies, and I'm like my all-time favorite movies, and I'm really excited because the majority of them are over on the Tubi, which is where I pick all the movies because it's free. There are no ads, and I love it so much. So anyway, I have to show you this. So I showed this in a video. So I was watching on Golden Pond last night because I usually watch the movies like the night before I do the announcement. People are always asking me about, like, memories, and are you close with this person in your family? Are you close with that person? Well, I was very close with my Aunt Kathy, who is my mom's sister and is Caroline's mom. So for those of you that don't know, my cousin Caroline is an only child. I'm an only child. Our mothers were only sisters. And we found out after after my mom passed away that our grandma had gone to prison twice for embezzlement. And it's actually kind of like what got us started about the joke about, I mentioned this in my last video that I did talking about Caroline, but it's kind of what got us started talking about like a possible podcast or, you know, like we were I mean, somebody said something about like, you seriously think you're gonna get a reality show? And it was a total joke. I mean, you guys don't joke with your friends and family. Caroline and I were like, it'd be so great if we could get a reality show called Cousin. And then it could be like us trying to figure out like the history of our grandma, because our mothers never really told us the true history of what happened. They were in and out of the foster care system. And if you would hear my mom tell it, my mom would say, well, we were fostered out to family members and people they knew. When I later asked my aunt said, oh, no, that's 100% incorrect. We were in the foster care system. And at the times that grandma, like, couldn't take care of us and things like that. The times of, I do know one time that she was in prison. She was in prison after my mom graduated from high school and several years into her, so she was in prison for like 4 or 5 years. But there was another time that she was in prison, and we can't really figure out that time. Also, our grandfather died when my mother was 4 and my aunt had just turned 6. Our grandfather died. And so during a long period of time, my grandmother was a single mother. And we think that at that point was also another time that Listen, Linda, y'all, you want me, I am trying so hard to get Caroline to go do this research in history with me because I'm so intrigued by it. So then, walks in my mom's stepdad, okay, who was in the picture for a while until he pushed my grandma down the stairs, and then he was immediately out of the picture. And that was after, like, well, that was when I was alive that happened. And they got married when my mom was like 12 or 13, I think. But before that, my mom was in high school, one of her good friends that lived on Beaver Island, Michigan, she was really good friends with this guy that had gone to my mom's high school for 1 year. His family had a lot of tragedy too. His dad was like murdered in like the biggest murder case that ever happened in Indianapolis by the mafia. And he was like a big executive here, and he was having an affair with this woman. I mean, the whole thing is like so crazy. Well, my mom's friend thought that they looked like twins, like fraternal twins. She was like, you guys look so much alike. So I think it was like a couple years before my mom passed away. Well, my mom's friend Diane passed away 3 years before she did. So it would have been before that. She called my mom, and he had come to, she would call it the island. He had come to the island to come visit because she had stayed in contact with him. But my mom, like, she never knew this guy, right? And he found out that his original birthday, because he had been adopted. That's the other thing I was going to say. He had been adopted. His birthday was in 3 days of my mother's birthday. I mean, there is so much mystery there in our family that we don't know. And my aunt passed away, and so she took a lot of it with her. And so I think it would be a great podcast to do where Caroline and I like dive into all this stuff and kind of find all of it out and stuff like that. Recently, so my mom would always say to me that she always wanted to go to South Florida, that she had never been to Miami, and she always wanted to go to Miami. After my mom passed away, I found out through letters that she had written and things like, that's a whole other story, okay? My mom said that she used to go to Hyannisport, okay, and she would work in this hospital, and she made all this stuff that she said in between in her summers during college. To find out she never went to Hyannisport, actually, she and my aunt went to Miami, Florida, where my mom said she had never been, and they stayed at the Delano Hotel for an entire summer. When I asked my aunt after my mom passed away, I said, how did you guys afford it? She goes, I don't know, probably on grandma's stolen money or something. So my mom said that when she was in Hyannisport, she met this guy that was gay, and when I came out to her, she was like, oh, I had this friend that was gay, and he was really fun, and he'd say things, wouldn't you just die without Judy Garland, and stuff like that. And he would write her these letters, and she said, all the letters you'll find someday, they're down in the basement, whatever. Well, I found letters from the guy that had this name, but they were love letters, and he was actually somebody that my mom met in Miami. I couldn't find him anywhere, so I found him. Oh, this is so crazy. So I found his I think it was his father's obituary, and I found his sister's name. This is like 15 years ago. And I sent her a message on Facebook. She connected us, and he was like, I totally remember your mother. I was in love with your mother and all this kind of stuff. I even thought for a time, I was like, is this guy my dad? Because like the love, it was crazy. Until like people were like, you are like a spitting image of your dad. Like you look exactly like your dad, right? And so, I mean, there's so much mystery. So I appreciate you guys saying that about like, maybe that would be fun like for Caroline and I to look into it. I think it would be a great podcast. It'd have to be a very planned out podcast. So it's not like we could just sit down and wing it, you know? But speaking of my aunt, I was very, very close with my Aunt Kathy. My Aunt Kathy, she knew that I loved to read, and so she would buy me vintage books, right? Even though I didn't love vintage books, she would buy them for me. Well, I'm watching On Golden Pond last night, and there was a scene in the movie when he tells this kid to read Treasure Island, and he brings out this book, Treasure Island, and I'm watching it, I'm like, I have that exact copy of Treasure Island. I have it right here. And I'm like, oh my God, my Aunt Kathy gave me that book. And so you can see in here, I showed this in my other video, but my aunt inscribed it to me for Christmas. To Peter, love, Merry Christmas, Aunt Kathy and Uncle Dave. She gave it to me in 1989. So this would have been when I was a junior in high school. And, or going into my, yeah, that would have been when I was going into that would have been my senior year in high school because I graduated in 1990. I looked, this book was published in 1915. So I'm going to read it this summer. I've never read Treasure Island. It's like one of the classics that I've never read. So anyway, little family history. Wasn't planning on telling all that today. There's your intro today. There's your drama-filled intro. The drama is back, mama. But not today. Not today, because I was like, you know what? I need to do a cleansing of the soul of drama. So the last couple days I've done some other videos. Actually, well, yesterday I did a video. I guess it was kind of considered drama because it was about Sam and Nia. I think people were like, I'm so confused why you're doing a video that doesn't have anything to do with Trisha Paytas, Jeffree Star, Shane Dawson, Toddy Westbrook, James Charles, Colleen Ballinger. Like, what? Like, you're doing a video about somebody you've never talked about before. So I explained yesterday that I had done this review of the Ashley Madison documentary on my Peter Watches TV channel, and people were really interested in it. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll do a deeper dive into Sam and Nia, the Christian vlogging channel, that are highly shown in this documentary, and how they're like monetizing his cheating to like make a lot of money. And this Christian family vlogging channel is like, they really only care about the money and the fame. And so I went in and I showed that yesterday in my video. Not a lot of people were real interested in that one. That's why I keep on talking about the same 5 people. And I have to tell you, the last couple of videos, I've gotten a couple people that are like, please talk about the same 5 people. So trust. Tomorrow, we're getting back to the drama, okay? We're getting back to the drama, mama. Don't ever forget who the Supreme is, okay? Don't ever... I'm not the Supreme. But I wish I was. I wish I was. I got this t-shirt. I love this, from Swiss Embassy. It has Jessica Lange and Coven smoking a cigarette. Actually, I think this is Murder House, maybe not Coven. But anyway, yeah, and Coven, she has like long hair. This is like Murder House, isn't it? It doesn't matter. Jessica Lange and American Horror Story. So anyway, are y'all watching the Kardashians this year? I'm like not into it. I watched it last season, and I just kind of was like, I watched it really for my reality TV channel that's now just Peter Watches TV, where yesterday I did a video about the 7M cult dancers. Do you guys know about all that? I did that video yesterday, reviewing that documentary over there. So, but what was I going to say? Oh, the Kardashians. So I watched it last season because my husband watches the Kardashians every season. So last night he was like, do you want to watch the Kardashians with me, or do you not care this season? Because I was like, so like when it was done last season, I'm like, I am so thankful that the superficial bullshit is done, right? And so I was like, oh, you can just watch it without me. Well, he started it, and there were 2 episodes that came out already. It's on Hulu. The new season just started, so they put 2 episodes out. And so I'm kind of like listening to it like the first 10 minutes. So then I went over and I watched the first 2 episodes with him. Interestingly enough, Ryan Murphy, who I think is a genius, and actually grew up in Indianapolis, Indiana, went to Warren Central High School, which is like 10 minutes from me. He's a couple years older than me. Can you imagine if Ryan Murphy and I had met in high school and been boyfriends and had been together all this time? My life would look much different, I think. I think my life would look much different, but that didn't happen. So anyway, Ryan Murphy is in, well, next week, Gary Jerry from The Golden Bachelor is going to be in the Kardashians, because Kendall is obsessed with The Golden Bachelor, which is interesting because it's like weird how it's like 6 degrees of separation. So if you watch The Golden Bachelor, on the finale, Susan, who is always my favorite, Susan, who looks a lot like Kris Jenner's favorite is Susan, and she sends her a message in the finale. And so, or maybe it's like when all the women talk or something like that behind the scenes. She sends her a message, and I was like so excited about that. Well, next week, Gary Jerry, I call him Gary Jerry because his name is Gary, but he spells it Gerry, and he said it was a German pronunciation of it, but then I said that in a video, and somebody from Germany said that's absolutely 100% a lie, but he's a liar, we already know that. He's already divorced from the golden lady, Teresa. He just wanted her money, and I think she figured that out, and now Gary Jerry and Teresa are divorced. I call him Gary Jerry. So anyway, so Gary Jerry is going to be on the Kardashians next week because Kris surprises Kendall with Gary Jerry because Kendall loves The Golden Bachelor. So I watched the Kardashians last night, but there was a scene in there where it's all around like American Horror Story Delicate, which Kim Kardashian starred in with Emma Roberts. It's hands down, I've watched every season of American Horror Story. I love American Horror Story. I love Ryan Murphy shows. I think he is a genius. It is hands down not only the worst American Horror Story that I've ever seen, but maybe one of the worst TV shows I've ever seen. Delicate is bad. It is really, really bad. It's horribly done, okay? And so he's like, people love you so much. I will say this, though, and I said this in previous videos, and people were like, there's no truth to that whatsoever. Kim Kardashian was pretty good in it. People are like, well, Kim Kardashian played herself. Well, Meryl Streep's been doing that for 45 years, and she's won Oscars for it. You know what I mean? Kim Kardashian did kind of play herself, but I thought she was like one of the highlights of the show, if you want to know the truth. That put me under a lie detector, and I would say the same thing. I thought she was good at it. I mean, for Kim Kardashian, because I thought she was going to bomb miserably, and she was not bad. So anyway, he's on the episode, and he's talking about how people love her so much on the show that she should have her own TV show. And I'm like, well, sure I do, baby. It's called The Kardashians, okay? It's funded her lifestyle for the last 20 years. I'm like, this is so crazy to me. So anyway, that's what we did last night. Oh, and then I was going to watch my best friend, Tanya Jean. She said, I cannot get off the couch. I'm like in this show, and I can't stop watching it. I go, what is it? She goes, Eric. It's just a thriller that just came out on Netflix. I go, oh my God, that's on my list. I want to watch it. She goes, I can't get off the couch. I'm halfway through the season. It's so good. So I was going to watch out last night, but I watched on Golden Pond, and then instead I started watching The Jenks too, about Robert Durst. You guys, that is probably one of the best true crime documentaries I've ever watched in my entire life. So today, to end the month of May, I thought, oh, that rhymed. You know who I feel like? If you're my age, you'll totally know what I'm talking about. If you're not, you'll be like, what the hell is he talking about? Okay, so there was a show back in the day. I loved the show. I wanted to be a detective because of the show. And now I kind of am. I'm kind of a detective of receipts. But anyway, I don't think I've ever said that on video before. And it's not really true. But anyway, I love the show called Moonlighting. It was with Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd. Oh my God, you guys remember that? And they have this receptionist. And so it's Sybil Shepherd she did this like, she was like an actress model. I mean, I'm not talking about Sybil Shepherd, the real Sybil Shepherd. Everybody knows about her. I'm talking about Sybil Shepherd in the show. I can't even remember what her name was. But anyway, on the show, she's like this like actress model. She did this like shampoo called Blue Moon shampoo. How did I remember that? But anyway, and her accountant steals all of her money from her. So she's got to start like working. Well, she's got all these businesses that she owns, and one of them is, I think it's called the Blue Moon Detective Agency or something like that. And so she like goes there to close it down. Bruce Willis owns it. He's real funny. And so they start working together to solve these cases. The receptionist she answers the phone, and every time she answers the phone, she like says, "Welcome to Blue Moon." It's always a poem. I could be her. They could do a reboot. Ryan Murphy, who could have been my boyfriend if he had just stayed in Indianapolis and waited a year or two, we could have gone on. Then I could have been Ryan Murphy's husband, living the high life in Los Angeles or wherever the hell he lives. He probably lives in Wyoming with Jeffree Star, because that's where all this big money goes to write off their taxes. Then I could be living next to Jeffree Star instead of talking about him in videos. And then I could be living with Ryan Murphy, and he could put me in a remake of Moonlighting, and I could be the receptionist doing poems on the phone. Why did my life turn out the way that it did? Well, I got Boo Radley and my husband, so everything's just fine. Anyway, so I thought I would answer a few of these other questions that I didn't get to earlier in my Q&A the other day. I had so much fun doing that Q&A. I was like, I'm going to answer some more of these questions. So let's get back to the questions in the Q&A. Let's see where I left off. Are you going to ever listen to Taylor's? Okay, I already answered that. Do you believe in the death penalty? Okay, here we're... how did you start your channels? I already talked about that. Hold on a second. People are asking me to do Todrick Hall. I said that I would do that. That's going to be in a drama video that's coming up. Why was I thinking of Todrick Hall? Oh my God. So we watched Loot last night too, the season finale of Loot on Apple. And that song of Todrick Hall's is in the very beginning of it. They're doing a fashion show. I thought, there's again 6 degrees of separation. People are asking me about Lost. Favorite color, I said blue or green. Okay, wait. Then Adelphi murders I talked about. Have you got any surprises planned for Alex's birthday? And I said many. What question did I stop at? Describe a perfect dream evening with friends. Oh, I'm so simple. I mean, like, it's nothing big deal for me. I get, like, you know, my husband and I go to events every once in a while. We went to Rev, which was this fundraiser to start off the race season in Indiana, and I love that every year. There's a couple other events that I love to go to. I love going to music festivals with my husband and stuff like that. But I get a lot of anxiety going to that stuff. I have a lot of social anxiety. I really have to build myself up. I know people are like, I was just talking to somebody, we were like, who were we out to dinner with the other day? I can't remember. My husband and I were out to dinner with somebody and we were talking about this. Or maybe it was when we were over at his aunt and uncle's house. I can't remember. But anyway, people were like, somebody was saying to me, like, I said something about social anxiety, and they go, you have social anxiety, like, you talk into a camera, like, how do you do that? I go, it feels completely different. Like, when I'm sitting here doing this video, I feel like I'm talking to, like, one person out there, like, whoever's asked a question, you know? It's weird because, like, on my vlog, like, there's a couple people that I know that, like, comment regularly, like Tia and Stacy and some people like that, and they DM me on a regular basis, or they send me suggestions for books and things like that, and so or movies, and so I always, like, kind of just, like, I'm, like, having a conversation with them, right? Like, it never feels like I'm talking to, like, how many people are going to watch this video, like 5,000 or something like that. It doesn't feel like that at all. It feels like I'm literally sitting in my bedroom with my dog over here, and I'm, like, you know, talking to, you know, one person out there that asked me this question. And so it's weird because, like, a perfect night for me with my friends would be, like, you know, going over to Tiny Jean's house and sitting on her patio while she makes a fire in the fire pit, and us getting fountain pops, maybe walking around the mire, going to a meeting with her like we did the other night. You know, a perfect night with, like, Alex would be just, like, going out to dinner somewhere nice, maybe with another couple, maybe by ourselves, coming back, you know, like, watching a movie or a TV show and, you know, all that kind of stuff. I'm a very simple person. I love that. I'll tell you, last night, oh my God, my tripod fell right when I was getting into this good story. Okay, so last night I was sitting on the front porch and I was watching On Golden Pond, right? And so my neighbor and her friends were, like, in the garage, and they were, like, repotting this plant or something like that. And so then they were, like, putting the stuff, like, the extra dirt, like, out in the yard and whatever. And so they were real close to where I was. And so her friend, like, peeked her head around the corner. She's like, hey, how are you? And it used to be her roommate. And so they came over and they sat on my front porch. porch, and like my neighbor sat on like the step and her friend sat in the chair next to me, and we sat there and like, you know, like drank coffee and like talked for like an hour. It was so much fun. Like that's like a perfect night for me. I love that. You know, caught up, I was asking her like old roommate, her friend, about her job and stuff like that, and we were talking about like the pool and the HOA drama and laughing about it and stuff like that. And that's like, that's a perfect evening for me. I'm like, I am not like, I don't need like a bunch of, you know, I feel fortunate that I have had so many amazing experiences in my life, traveled to so many amazing places, had dinner at some of the greatest restaurants in the world. You know, I've done everything that I've wanted to do. Like, the simplicity of life, to me, is really where it's at. And it's who I'm spending that time with and who's putting a smile on my face. You know, surround yourself with people that make you feel good. Surround yourself with people that, you know, I love the Toni Morrison saying that, the writer Toni Morrison, that when she was interviewed about, like, taking care of kids and, like, what do kids look for in parents, she said, when a child walks in a room, they look to see in their parents' eyes, do their eyes light up? And she said, I think as adults we feel the same way. And I agree with that. You know, like, surround yourself with people that when you show up, their eyes light up. They're excited to see you, you know? And I think that's one of the reasons why, like, when people say first on my videos or blue hearts or hey, I'm here, like, that's their eyes lighting up. Like, that means a lot to me, you know? Just that simplicity of that. But that's what I would do. And this is why it takes me so long to get in these videos. Okay. I've not listened to Billie Eilish's new album. I've heard there's a lot of drama about it. Okay. Let's see. Oh, I talked about my mom getting sober. Did I? I thought there was like pages left of these questions. I have not watched Love is Blind. Okay, I already talked about how do I... Oh, this is where I think I ended it with what somebody said, what was your favorite Tinkerbell video? And I said, I think you mean Thumbelina the Squirrel. Okay, so are there any beauty influencers that you think are heavily misunderstood? I think we are in an era where all these beauty influencers, I'm so worried about getting this crap in the corners of my mouth because it looks so gross. I think we're in an era where these beauty influencers don't really care anymore how they look or what they do. I heard that Jeffree Star was like selling coolers or something on TikTok last night. I was like, oh my God, how far the mighty have fallen. And I'm not calling Jeffree Star the mighty. I'm saying he thinks he's the mighty, right? And at one point, getting 20 million views a video. I'll be honest with you. I was actually really shocked yesterday when I was looking into Sam and Nia, the Christian family vlogging channel, their YouTube channel. And they have videos that have, like, their top 20, maybe their top 30 highest viewed videos have like 20 million or more views on them, right? And those are videos that are like why our swimming pool broke. And so you think about that, and then you think about Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star doing this documentary series where they were getting very similar views, and people are like, they're a genius. And then you have this Christian family vlogging channel that's cheating and spending all their money on Ashley Madison, and they're doing a video like that, and they're getting like millions and millions of views. It's interesting to me, like, what we perceive as, you know, like, success on YouTube, right? And so, you know, but it is interesting to me. I've said this for a very long time. Jeffree Star has hinted out this pink thing with a gold thing on it. People are like, is it a palette? Is it whatever? He's been putting a lot of things up of, like, memories of the past. People are speculating that it's music. I actually, and I've kind of, like, tried to look into it because I thought if it's coming out, like, there would have to be, like, they would say a pre-order or a published shape. There's nothing about it. It looks to me like a hardcover, very nice edition of like an autobiography. I would not be surprised if he's releasing his autobiography this next month. Because that picture that he put up, it's like a pink picture and it like has a gold star emblem on it. It almost kind of looks like a diary. It looks to me like that might be a book. It doesn't look to me like a palette, but I could be completely wrong. But I've said this for a long time. I was like, you know, it's sad to me that Jeffree Star didn't come back to YouTube for his audience. Because I think the majority of Jeffree Star's audience was on YouTube, not TikTok. I don't really believe that he went to TikTok just because of the views. Because his views were okay there for a while. But now he's, like, allegedly spending his own money so that he can win battles. I mean, he's kind of, like, faded off. He's not really that relevant on TikTok anymore either. it's sad to me, because I've said this in numerous videos, fact check it please, that Jeffree Star going out in a TikTok battle where nobody's even in there, if that's his going out, that, like, for me, for anybody, would be sad. But somebody like, yes, Jeffree Star has done a lot of wrong in his life, and I don't condone it, but for somebody that's worked that hard, I think you've got to also think about, like, when you're going out. It's like when you talk about, like, Schitt's Creek, right, which was such a great TV show, or Lost. It's like, you got to know when to end, right? Like, you want to end on the top. And I always thought Jeffree Star would, like, sell Jeffree Star Cosmetics. Yes, somebody else asked me, do you think he will? I absolutely 100% believe that Jeffree Star will sell Jeffree Star Cosmetics. I don't think it's lucrative for him anymore. I don't think he's making any money. So I think he's holding on to it for pride and ego. But the thing is that I don't care how much money you're worth. If you have a business that's not lucrative and is putting you, like, you know, in debt every time you release a palette, then you at some point have to make a smart business choice, right? And, like, getting rid of the company or downsizing the company would be a smart business, right? So I think in the next couple years, we will see him probably release an album, the book will come out, and then he will do, like, it will be like the final act, I don't know, palette or something, and then he'll retire after that. And I think that will be it. I think he'll go on TikTok for fun. I think he'll do, you know, interviews and things like that, but I think that will be it. I don't think he'll post on YouTube anymore. I don't think he'll whatever. And, you know, I mean, he's almost... Well, I think he's like 38, 39. That might happen around his 40th birthday. He might, like, be like, I mean, how old is Jeffree Star? I don't really know, but I think he's like, let's see, Jeffree Star age. I think he's like 38 or 39. Jeffree Star age. He's 38, so that might happen, like, on his 40th birthday. He might do all of that on his 40th birthday, and I don't think it would be a bad plan for him either, you know? I think another thing that he might do, even though so many people have called it a cash grab, is I think that leading up to that, he might do something else, one more last thing with Shane Dawson, or one more last thing with somebody like that, to kind of like a palette of everything that's like memories of his past. And then I think it might be like the best of would be like the last show palette or something like that. He's not gonna, this is not a man that has the pride to watch his business fail and have drama channels making videos about how he filed for bankruptcy and he had to dissolve the business, which he would never have to file for bankruptcy, but, like, let's just say, like, the business, you know, was failing and he had to close the business down, and he's not going to be the person that's going to allow that to happen. On some level, Jeffree Star is going to leave the internet on his own terms. And so, I mean, there's so much pride and ego there. If I were his PR person, the thing is, people always say, like, you know, that they have people, none of these people have PR people around them, okay? They have people that make videos for them on TikTok and shit like that, but I know that because I used to talk to them back in the day, and they were like, none of us have PR people. If he had somebody that was a PR person around him, he would already be designing what that exit would look like and how lucrative it could be, so that he would never have to work another day in his life, and he could basically call the shots, go to fashion shows, you know, do this, do that, you know? So it'll be interesting to see what happens. Okay, the next question, let's see. Have you watched the new Grand Cayman show on Hulu yet? My husband watched one episode of it, and he said it was okay. I have no desire to watch it. But I did go to Grand Cayman once or twice in my life, and I absolutely loved it. It was amazing. Do you think some people are too far gone to come back from addiction? I think there are a lot of people that have given up on themselves. I never give up hope on anybody. And, you know, like I share a lot that my mom got sober at 51 years old. And I know people today that are getting sober at 60 to 70 years old. So, and then there are people that, like, I got sober at 22 and a half. And when I got sober, that was super young. But then, you know, or now there are people that are getting sober at 12 to 15, 16 years old, right? And then there are people as old as 70 or 80 that are getting sober. There's no age limit on it. I don't think there's anybody that's too far gone from addiction to get help at all. I think people give up on themselves, right? Like, I think that at some point they're like, I'm never going to get this. You know, and I am a big believer in reality therapy, that if what you're doing isn't working, try something different. If you've gone to a 12-step program and that's not working, try something else, you know, try church, try a maintenance program, you know, go to therapy, see what they suggest, you know, don't ever give up on yourself. You are worth the world, okay? And, you deserve to fight for yourself, always, in any situation. Okay, somebody said, I've noticed that you wear leather products as a veggie. Can you share why? Well, I'm not a vegan. I'm a vegetarian. People ask this all the time. So vegans are people that don't use any animal products whatsoever. I'm a vegetarian, which means I don't eat fish, I don't eat meat, things like that. I do eat eggs, I do eat dairy, and I do wear leather. Vegans are the ones that don't wear leather, so I do wear leather. I think at this point, because people are like, well, why wouldn't you make the move to be a vegan? It's not about the leather. I could give up leather tomorrow and I think I would be completely fine. Like, really, to be honest with you, the only thing that would really affect is me wearing Birkenstock sandals, but they have vegan leather on Birkenstock site, and I have a couple of them and they're really, really nice. I mean, I have so many. I mean, you guys, you just want to see, this is like ridiculous right here. Do you see all these sandals? I mean, I have so many Birkenstock sandals. I probably have 40 pairs. And I also have a lot of plastic ones. So that wouldn't stop me. As far as a leather belt, I could care less. Leather bags, I don't need. I could give up leather. There's a lot of foods. I have enough food restriction as a vegetarian that for me to like try to eat as a vegan, I have a lot of vegan friends and I respect them highly. But that's like a whole different mindset of where I'm at. And it doesn't really align with why I'm a vegetarian anyway. So for me, and I'm not saying that I wouldn't change that at some point, but I might decide to become a vegan at some point. But today, that's not where I'm at. So vegans are the ones that don't use leather products. I mean, some vegetarians don't either, but that's not where I'm at with it. What is your dream vacation destination? Well, this is interesting. It kind of changed. So this summer, for my husband's 40th birthday, he first wanted to go to Bora Bora. Okay, the flight for me is a little long. Like, I love the show Lost, right? I don't want to fly over the ocean for 20 hours. But I would do it. Like, when he wanted to do it, I was like, let's do it. But he wanted to do, like, a couple's trip. And so, like, he couldn't get a lot of people that would go for, like, because it would take, like, 10 days, 2 weeks to be there, to fly there, and all this kind of stuff. From the middle of the United States and Indiana, that's like 2 days to get there, 2 days to get home. So you got to go for a while, right? Then we were going to go to Tomorrowland in Belgium. He couldn't get tickets. None of his friends, I mean, it was sold out like that. So he couldn't get any tickets. And then that started coming up, like, what our dream place is. What do we want? Like, this is his birthday trip, not my birthday trip that's coming up. So we, like, started thinking about it. And I started thinking about, like, what are my dream places? One of my bucket list places has always been Turks and Caicos. It's one of my dad and my stepmom's favorite places to travel. And they love it. And I would love to go there. I'd love to take Alex to Grand Cayman. He's never been since that came up. Grand Cayman is absolutely one of the most beautiful places that I've ever been in my entire life. For me, my dream destinations are either, like, the Maldives or like all in the Caribbean. I would love to go to every Caribbean island. I've been to quite a few, and that's kind of my dream. So yeah, that will probably be one of our next big trips, is to the Caribbean somewhere. Okay, newest music find. I wanna be the most popular girl. So on Peter's movie club, the movie that I picked, I think it was 2 weeks ago, was Teen Witch, which is actually with, what's her name? Robin Lively, who I didn't know until watching the movie. So when I'm watching movies and TV shows, I'm constantly, like, Google searching the cast of these movies and TV shows. Robin Lively, who played Teen Witch, and I think it was like 1986 or 87, or 89 maybe, I don't know. She is the half-sister of Blake Lively, and she and Blake Lively are really, really close. Did you guys know that? Blake Lively of Gossip Girl. And so, I forgot how much music was in the movie Teen Witch, because I think the last time I watched it was probably high school. I always put up, like, the meme of, like, the girl that's like, top that, when they're doing, like, the rap battle in the movie. So I started looking up these songs while I was watching the movie, because they're real catchy, cheesy, corny-ass songs. There was a musical. I was not aware of this. There was a Teen Witch Broadway musical, and all the songs are on there, and I actually downloaded 2 of the songs. The 2 songs that I downloaded were, I have it pulled up right here, Never Gonna Be the Same Again, and Popular Girl, which I just sang for you. Peter's version of Popular Girl. Okay, let's get back to some of these questions. Where am I at? Okay, How do you help support a significant other on weight loss? How does Alex support you? Well, Alex is super supportive of me. I mean, he asks me, he'll say things like, you know, if I'm thinking about, like, ordering food, he'll be like, do you think that you want to do that tonight? You know, he'll, like, ask me, like, are you okay with me getting food or going out to eat? He's really supportive of me. He also doesn't sugarcoat it. Like, he doesn't call me names, obviously, but, like, I know not to ask him, like, can you tell if I've lost weight, or how do you think I'm doing this week? Because he's going to give me the real answer. So when I want the real answer, I go to my husband, and he'll be like, yeah, I haven't noticed that you've been walking a lot this week, you know, or yeah, I've noticed that you've walked every day. Like, I'm really proud of you. Like, how do you feel? But that's the other thing, is like, that's probably the most supportive thing. I wasn't even thinking of that Alex does, is he'll say the thing, he'll turn it back on me and say, like, I'm talking about all these different therapeutic techniques that I've had from therapists back in my day. Reality therapy, Gestalt therapy is turning it back on the other person. And Alex will do that to me. He'll say, like, well, how do you feel? Like, how do you feel like you're doing? And then it, like, makes me question it. And I'm like, well, I don't know. This week I'm not doing great, or this week I'm doing better than I was doing before. He's very supportive of it. He always asks me, what do you need from me in this situation, you know? If you could relive any one day, what would it be? I think if I could relive any one day, I would relive our wedding. Maybe the day after our wedding. Because the day after our wedding, we just spent the two of us by the pool at the Cosmopolitan. All of our other friends were at a different pool because they wanted to just give us that day. And it was just a really magical day. We walked around Vegas, just the two of us together after we went to the pool, took a nap. We went to dinner, you know. It was a nice day. It was just like a perfect day between my husband and I. I think that would be the day. Okay, if you could live in a reality TV world, which one would it be? Love you, Peter. If I could live in a reality TV world, which one would it be? Well, it wouldn't be like a competition show like Survivor or Big Brother or Amazing Race. If I could live in a reality TV show, I mean, in a house, like probably Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. I don't know. I don't know which reality show I would pick. That's a good question, though. Would you consider doing financial content, not your personal finances, but in general? Okay, so I get this question quite a bit because I talk about having had a lot of debt and working through a lot of debt, and that I followed Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover and snowballed my debt. This is years and years and years ago, but I talk a lot about it. And like Alex and I, for date nights, like we would go on one date night a week, and we would go to like Applebee's and do like the 2 for $20, and like we watched everything that we did. And I mean, I don't dog anybody that files bankruptcy. That's your choice. But I was like, I'm not going to do this. Like, I incurred my own debt. I'm going to pay off my own debt. And I did. And it's probably one of the proudest things I've ever done in my life. It also taught me to be very smart with money, because I can remember talking to my dad at that time. And my dad said to me, if you're going to pay off all this debt, people think that I have some trust fund out there. I can tell you right now, I had like $83,000 worth of credit card debt, and that my ex and I had gotten incurred together. And I went to my dad, and my dad said to me, I've shared this story a lot on my vlog. My dad said to me and Alex, and my stepmom was sitting out there painting her nails, and he said, I could go inside and I could write you a check 2 to 3 times out of debt. But the problem is, you wouldn't learn anything from it. He said, you will go right back and you will just get that debt back up. So when I was talking to my dad helped me a lot. My dad's somebody that's very financially smart. He grew up very, very poor and things like that. And so he said to me, he's like, you need to get rid of these credit cards that you pay off, or you're going to run them back up again. And, you know, today, I don't buy something unless I have the money for it. I budget money. People hear me talk all the time about how I save money for this, I save money for that, I save money for things I want to spend on, I carry it over. At the end of the year, I write myself a check on what I haven't spent. I'm very, very smart with money today, and I'm very self-taught through books that I read, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which I probably read too late in life. I think it's a great book to read when you're in, like, your early 20s, like right out of college. It's a great graduation gift. If I were going to give like graduation gifts to somebody that was graduating from college, I would give them Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey, and I think his other one is called like How to Be a Millionaire by like the time you're 40 or something like that. All 3 of those books are fantastic as far as like how to buy cars, not, you know, how to buy a house, you know, paying off debt, things like that. And it totally changed my whole perspective on money. I would totally do financial content, but I don't think anybody would be interested in it. It's not like I mean, I just did what I was told, and like if you follow those systems like snowballing debt, where you pay your smallest amount of debt and then to your largest amount of debt, it works. I am evidence that works. As somebody that is sitting here today, that we paid off our own house, neither one of my husband and I, we have no credit card debt, we have no debt whatsoever. I mean, and I'm like, my husband will look at me and be like, I'm gonna be 40, like I own a house and we have no debt. And people think that's because like I have a trust fund. I have no trust fund. Okay, period, end of story. My dad will probably leave his money to like the White Elephant Foundation because he believes so much in like animals and things like that. I think people think like I have some huge amount of money that I got from, that's just not the case at all. Believe what you want to believe. I don't really care. I don't feel like I have to explain that to anybody, and you know, it's not really anybody's business anyway, but you know, like, to be where I'm at and to be debt free, and like I worked really, really hard at that. There were like years upon, I mean, I do a lot of hauls on my Peter Does stuff, but there were years where I didn't buy anything for forever, you know, and like we just coupon cut and bought groceries and did what everybody else has to do for like 10 years, right? And like really worked hard at paying off that debt and saving our money. And today we have some savings and we're debt free and things like that. And it's just because I read those books and I followed them. The snowballing your debt thing, Dave Ramsey is like, and I don't know anything about who he is as a political person or politics or anything, if he's a good person or problematic. I don't know anything about him, but that book works. Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey changed my life. I did everything that it said to do in there and it worked. The other book that I read, which was interesting because when I read it, it was called the 4-Day Work Week. And the guy in the book, he like owns a huge company and then he sells it. And so then he starts an online company and he then can like work from anywhere in the world and whatever. But so I was like, well, you had a lot of money to start, okay? Like you bought this company that now you can run from anywhere in the world and salsa dance and things like that. Because there's a whole chapter about salsa dancing, but you had a company that you sold first. Like, what about somebody that has no money? Well, I kind of just walked into this whole YouTube thing. I never really thought it was going to turn into what it turned into. But now, I mean, even though I'm like the 7-day work week, because I work every single day, I posted a vlog every single day. I posted at least one video every single day for the last 2 months. All of May, all of April, I posted a video every single day. Even when I was on vacation in March, I posted videos. So I'm passionate about it. That's why I love to do it. You know, like my friends will be like, you don't even take a day off on the weekends. I'm like, I love it. I love doing this. You know, my dad said to me, find a job that you love and the money will follow. If the money doesn't follow, then at least you love your job. I don't make $1 million a year. I make enough to pay my bills. And I'm so grateful for each and every one of you out there because I get to get up every single day and do something that I love and pay my bills with it. Like, that's amazing, right? You know, and I don't have to have $1 million. I need a front porch to talk to my neighbors. I need my husband, my dog, and a few friends and family. And I'm blessed beyond belief, you know? And I think that's also a big part of the money thing is, what do you need and what do you want? You know, I don't need $1 million home. I don't need all these things that I thought that I needed, right? Like, my whole perspective changed when I started paying off my debt. I would love to do financial content. You can see how passionate I am about it because I lived it, but I don't think anybody would be that interested in it. But thank you for asking. Are you still going to do video or series about family vloggers? Probably. I started yesterday with Nia and Sam and Nia. And somebody said, how do you deal with 12-step burnout? I don't really deal with 12-step burnout. I'm not really sure. I mean, I guess you would have to be a little bit more specific about that. I think people that... I would say things that have worked for me in the past is switch up my meetings. If you've worked with the same sponsor for a long time, maybe get a different sponsor. Rework your steps. Get involved in a workshop. Get out of yourself. I mean, the first, rule of a 12-step program is to do something for others to get out of yourself. So get a service position. Do, service for others. Do volunteer work. Get out of yourself. Like I say, I believe in if what you're doing isn't working, try something different. Try the opposite of what you're doing. When I worked through my character defects, when I was early in recovery, like they would say, do the opposite, So, if you're feeling impatient, practice patience. And by practice patience, I can remember like my early sponsor would say things to me like, you're going to like when you go into the gas station to buy a candy bar, you're going to wait and let 3 people go ahead of you. That'll teach you patience, So those were things I did. I don't really get burnt out in a 12-step program. Guilty pleasure snacks. What are yours? Guilty pleasure snacks. Oh my God, chips and dip from Costco. I was buying these sweet potato chips and these different dips, and I haven't done that for a long time. I'm really proud of myself. And then they have at Costco, they also have the best donuts in the entire world. They're like donut holes, and they are, I can't think of what they're called. The dessert that's a stick. Well, I can't think of what that's called, but it's the Mexican dessert. You guys know what I'm talking about? It sometimes comes with whipped cream or ice cream. Well, I can't even think of it. Oh my God, I love those so much. They are so good. I mean, I love them as a dessert, but the donuts are even better, and they come in like a plastic box. The last time I got them, I took them up to the solar eclipse, and people loved them. But I try to walk right by that aisle when I'm at Costco because those things are dangerous for me. Okay. Somebody said, I'm 30 and my hair is getting more and more gray. Should I just roll with it? Well, listen, my hair started turning gray when I was 23. I said that in my last video that if I could go back and do anything different, I would have let my hair go gray in my 30s. Now, I will tell you, I had this conversation with my mother, and I've had it with many women. I think it's 100% different for men than it is for women. I do think that we live in a double standard in our society, As I've had friends of mine that have grown, I will tell you this too. Before I let my hair grow out, people guessed me, and I think I was 39, 40 at the time. People guessed me for early 30s. As soon as my hair was all white, it was like literally overnight, people guessed me for like 45, 50. I mean, then it aged me up, right? I can remember my mom always wanted to grow her hair out. She had platinum blonde hair her whole life, except for she had alopecia and then it grew back brown and then she got it colored blonde again. She always wanted to grow her hair out white, but she would say, I think it's going to really age me. And I said, well, if it ages you, it ages you. Do you care? And she would say, I do care what people's perceptions of me. I don't want, you know, somebody to think that of me. My cousin Caroline said to me, like, I think with like, my mom would always say, with men, it's like they look wise, they look experienced, distinguished. With women, it's like they've let themselves go. I've experienced that. I've seen people say things like that. I've seen other women say that about other women, you know? I think white and gray hair is beautiful. I love it. You know, my cousin's made a decision that when she turns 60, she's letting it go. She goes, I don't care. But I will say the one thing is, the keep up in the amount of money that I spent on coloring my hair through the years from 23 to 40, not to mention color correction shampoo and like not being able to go into a pool. I can remember when my hair grew out and I could use any shampoo and conditioner I wanted to, but the biggest thing was going out in the sun and going to a pool and like just being in the chlorine. It just makes my hair whiter, you know? And so, yeah, but I think it's a personal decision that you have to make. You can always try it, and then, I mean, this was my thing. It was like, if I don't like it, I'll go back to brown again. If people have an issue with it, that's, you know, whatever. Let's see. Where is LaDonna Duck? LaDonna Duck is over there in that corner, and we don't ever dare bring her out. Let's see. Trends you hate. Okay, I do not love, and my husband loves this, I do not love the big baggy jeans with the big bulky shoes. I don't love that trend. And I think it's on its way out anyway, so I'm happy about that. Okay, somebody said, why are you up so early? And I think the question, because I posted this at like 5:30 in the morning, I think the question should be, why was I up so late? Okay. James Charles' new song, your take on the lyrics. I haven't listened to his newest song, I don't think. I think, actually, did I do it? Somebody else said, where's LaDonna Duck? She's over there in the, I didn't know. Quack, quack, she quacked her bags and left. Do you wear sunscreen every day? I do not wear sunscreen every day at all, no. Sometimes at the pool and the beach. Somebody said, can I take you to the casino when you come to Australia? Absolutely, I would love that. Somebody said, who proposed? You or Alex? I proposed. And how? I wrote a poem. And the last part of it was in Spanish, and I asked him to translate it for me, and that was the part where I said, will you marry me? And so, yeah. But the funny part of this is, he said that I had to ask his mom first if I was going to ask him, so I had to ask his mom. It was very awkward. We weren't as close back then. I mean, we got engaged, like, I think it was, so we started dating in August, and we got engaged on his birthday weekend the following June. And so, I mean, what, like 10 months later, we were engaged, and then we got married 2 years later. So, yeah. Okay. Oh, and then the last question. Oh, here's a picture of my cousin Caroline at Costco the other day. She's so pretty. Somebody said, anything else you love doing in your life that you don't talk about on your channel? I thought this was an interesting question when I saw it, because I was like, what do I love that I don't talk about on my channel? I feel like I talk about everything, you know? There's this whole discussion of people oversharing and, you know, stuff like that, and that's always what's used against me. It's like, oh, Peter shared this, and Peter shared this, and on this date he shared this, but on this date he shared something completely different. It's like, listen, I mean, what do I have to gain by lying about having read a book or watched a movie or told this one way or that way the other way, you know? I 100% am fully aware that I have overshared through the years. I would not take it back. It's also the thing that has connected me to so many of you out there, and that so many of you are like, oh my God, like, I think the same way, or I love the same movies, or I had the same relationship with my mom, or thank you, you've helped me so much getting sober, or, you know, I'm sober too. And I mean, a lot of people will comment and be like, they have like 5-10 years more sober than I do. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, there's people out there that were there before I was, and that's so cool that they planted the seed for me, right? And I don't know, like, I probably do overshare, you know, and I'm okay with that today, you know. Are there some things I wish I hadn't shared? Yeah, at the time, and when people will throw it in my face and things like that. I'm not a perfect example. I have messed up a lot in my life. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've done a lot of shitty things. I've said a lot of shitty things. I'm trying not to be that person today, and I think I've proved that over the last couple years. That, you know, you want to compare me to who I was 10 years ago, it's a great comparison because I have changed and grown a lot today, and I think I've proved that. And, you know, like, and I think that might be one positive of oversharing a little bit. But no, the connection that I've built with so many of you by sharing personal things in my life, I'm forever grateful for that. This has changed my life forever in a very positive way, and I'm so so thankful for it, and I'm so thankful for each and every one of you. And I love you guys, and the drama will be back tomorrow. I love you, and I will see you then.